So, hi guys. I just want to give kind of my thought on the ICMI, which I attended like last weekend. I'm in the process of moving, and I think I've just kind of finished moving everything. So I've been kind of busy and just really tired and been traveling because I had like 2 weeks where I have like nowhere to live. So my overall impression that it's a really great conference. There are a lot of attendees. I think it's over 100, but I'm not sure. But it's pretty big, so that's great. And the talks were really nice. The conference each day, the times are really long. They go from like 9 a.m. in the morning and sometimes go all the way to 10. So it's pretty exhausting. But they were really great talks. Many of them, I missed a few. Like I missed the Sargon one because I actually want to talk to people because I know like these talks will be up on YouTube, so I can watch them. But it's kind of unfortunate. There are many talks that I was just too tired, so I had to go take a nap, or I was like talking to somebody. Um, the attendees were mostly older males, so they were like males in their 40s and above, which is not surprising because you're talking about men who have experienced certain things in their life that kind of draw them to the men's rights movement. So very few younger males, and I actually thought that there were quite a few women. But then like um, Paul Elam, for example, said that in the past there were more women. So I don't know, but I thought like I actually looked around and I thought that yeah, there were quite a few women there. And maybe the reason why there weren't as many as before is because the location. I have to tell you, I was not a fan. I was not a fan doing Chicago. The only benefit was that it was very close to where I live, so I can take a bus to get there. But other than that, though, there's several problems with the location. One is that it's so expensive, and the services weren't good. And also, I talked to one of the guys who was kind of a native Chicagoan, and he said that Chicago is becoming like Detroit. So people are kind of leaving and getting out of there because of all the taxes and things like that. So that might be one of the reasons. Maybe it's just because of the location. And the location is very convenient for people who come from like outside the United States because there's so many direct flight into Chicago. But in terms of like native American, like not Native American, but American natives, maybe it's not very convenient because maybe most of them just moved out. So that may be one of the reason because I feel like there were so many foreigners who were there. There were so many like non-Americans. There were so many people who were from UK, Australia, Scandinavian countries, Germany. There were quite a few, uh, and they might even constitute like half of the attendees. So that might be one of the reason. And maybe like women just don't like to travel that much. So that could be one of the reasons for whatever reason. Um, and the overall impression, like I get to talk to many cool people. I talked to Mark Andrelucci, and he listened to my story. I talked briefly with Paul Elam. I talked with Fred Hayward. That was really nice. Um, I briefly talked to Karen Strawn, who was kind of like avoiding everybody and getting drunk. That's actually kind of the thing that, I mean, it's to be expected, but still kind of weird because all of these really, really popular YouTubers like Sargon, Karen, even Paul, they're sort of just kind of like avoiding people and just kind of talking to the people that they want to talk to, pretty much. So that's okay. But it gets kind of awkward, like, because if you want to talk to them, then they're kind of like walking around you. So, and my my impression on the lectures, I mean, my favorites were, I mean, Janice Fiamengo's one really stood out, like kind of make me, because I have a comparative lit minor, so she's kind of using English literature to talk about men's issues. That's really freaking nice. Um, I think probably the only thing that bothered me in that entire lecture was that she kept calling Don Juan Juan, you know? So I was talking to this guy from Mexico. I was just like, "Well, I don't know why she just doesn't say Don Juan." I mean, even Chinese translate Don Juan into Don Juan, you know? But anyways, I mean, that's kind of petty. But I was just like, that's just something that stood out to me. And then Tom Golden's lecture was great. That was the first one I listened to about male testosterone. That was really interesting. And Tommy Sotomayor's lecture was really funny. Like, I don't actually know much about this guy, Tommy Sotomayor. I heard about him from like a third person source, but the lecture he gave was just so engaging and so funny. Yeah, so I love a funny lecture. And then there was like Dr. Random McCam's evening comedy, which started great, but then I don't think he chose the best topic to do it on because he started kind of he did it in like a video response format to Thunderfoot, and I think a lot of people in the audience doesn't know who Thunderfoot is. Because I've talked to several people, several prominent men's rights activists, they have absolutely no idea who Thunderfoot was. And then so he was kind of doing a like kind of aggressive response to Thunderfoot being petty. So it overall like it I you know the audience were starting to kind of fall asleep from exhaustion and just kind of didn't understand what's going on. But still, I mean, he had kind of some pretty nice jokes. Like for example, he said, "What does the capitalist dog say to the communist cat? Wolf, because it's a dog. And what does the communist cat say to the capitalist dog? Mao, because it's a communist." That was just it was brilliant. I mean, he had some really brilliant, funny jokes. Um, and other than that, like yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Again, like my only complaint is the venue. And I'm not saying like this is the organizer's fault or anything. It's just really the city. The city had a higher sales tax, like the highest sales tax I've been anywhere, including California. I think it's like 12 or 13% sales tax. So it's like, holy shit. And the service really was just not good. And several attendees of ICMI have said this. They say that this is like the worst service they've ever had anywhere. Um, People are just like lazy. Like for example, like you go into a restaurant, they just kind of ignore you and not giving. They bring the food but not the utensils, and then or they forgot about you or something like that. And it's just anyways, like it's really it's something that really stood out to me just because really wasn't used to this kind of service. I've never had it anywhere, and since like everything is so expensive in the city of Chicago, I just really feel like they should have better or at least the same service as anywhere else, but the service is like much lower. So that was kind of disappointing. And also the hotel also I thought was really overpriced. Again, this is not the organizer's fault. It's just a hotel. They give you a ginormous room, but it's really not practical. Like for example, you can't find a plug anywhere to charge your phone. The lights are not at the right place, so there's a giant mirror and there's no light anywhere near it. But you know, the bed is really comfortable. The shower is really good. It's just that I just feel like for such an expensive hotel, things should have done better. And also the breakfast was like $12. I mean, this is after the discounts. And there were just eggs and bacon. Yeah, it's again like I just personally think it should have been a lot better for such an expensive breakfast. Um, yeah. So other than that, just I had a great time. I talked to many people from all over the place, and I think for the most part I got what I was looking for. Met some cool people and maybe made some friends. That's a question mark. Um, and also like it is kind of funny because when I went into the ICMI, I just kind of noticed how uh, the men there, I think they're so red pill, like they kind of like ignore women around them, which is kind of funny. Which is actually kind of cool, but it's also kind of funny at the same time. So they would, for example, I would be on this shuttle and they would start talking to each other about, oh, you're in ICMI. And they would kind of just assume like I'm not going to ICMI, so they would not, they would like skip me and ask other people, whether you going to ICMI. So yeah, it's overall it's kind of funny. Maybe that contributed to them not noticing women attendees. Again, I'm not saying they should notice women attendees, but I just feel like maybe that's part of the reason why they didn't notice, because they just kind of trained to not notice women anymore, which is, again, it's fine. But if you don't notice them, then it's like you can't really say like there's no women attendees, because I thought there were quite a few, like more than I thought there would be. So maybe my expectation was much lower. I don't know, but I thought there were quite a few women there. Um, and yeah, I mean, what else? It's kind of like I wish that the next ICMI would be in North America or Europe, but they're gonna make it in Australia again, which is like, oh my God, it's so far away. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to attend with, being so far away. Um, but maybe they changed their mind. I'm not sure. Um, at one point in one of the later panel sessions, like it was the red pill panelists, and I got really emotional. I don't know why, and I wanted to say something nice to Cassie J, who came in remotely, but I kind of started to like cry, and I don't really know why. I just got really kind of emotional. So I wasn't trying to lower all the testosterone in a man in that room, but whoops. Um, but after that, I did manage to talk to a lot more people. Like a lot more people then got kind of interested in the in me and why I'm attending. So there's always silver lining, I guess. But really, like I did not plan for that kind of thing to go down. I think it might have to do with fatigue. I was just really, really freaking tired. Like I didn't have sleep for like more than 24 hours before attending, and there were just all these traveling, all this moving, and there were just so many things going on at the same time. Um, so yeah, I mean overall, again, I really enjoyed it, and mm, do I have any suggestions? Mm, Yeah, I mean, not really. Um, one of the panel sessions, like they invited this woman who apparently is a relationship advisor or something, and I was kind of going like, I don't know why you invited her. I could have been a better panelist if you needed a woman on there for some reason. But she was kind of like going kind of gynocentric, like men should be doing this because women like it, and that's how you get relationships, which I really disagree with. Like, I think men or women for that matter, but let's just say, in the case of uh, talking about men's rights, um, I think men should be focusing on themselves. That would be what I would say. Focusing on your own values, and if you really really want to start a family, you should be trying to find a woman who will complement you in your life goals. You should be thinking whether or not you can see yourself with this woman, um, in the next 10 years, 20 years, and what she has to contribute to this family. Um, I said this a lot to a lot of attendees there, which is that I really disagree with the idea of um, women not working. Again, like there are a lot of men there that actually agree with me on this. They said that yeah, it didn't work out for me because it could be really great in the first few years when she's busy taking care of the child, but then after that, it's just like once she's alleviated of that responsibility, then things could go to shit. But it's not like I think you just need to find a working woman. It's like she has to be willing to work for the family. So it's not she just go out and work on her own, do whatever she like to further herself, but she has to share this goal of the family and work to bring resources to the family. I think that's kind of what you'd be looking for. Like I would say, one thing that would help me, like something that helped me, and I think would probably help men in general, would be think about, kind of a hero that you look up to in your life. It could be like a childhood hero or like a hero you know a personal hero of yours now, or it could be a combination, something that's constructed and as a model in your head and kind of work towards that, like becoming kind of like that. You will never most likely be 100% that model, but just working towards it will help you better yourself, will help you create value for yourself and self-respect. And that's something really important. I think if you just did that, even if you're looking for a relationship, I think women would naturally come to you. I think like that's a much better bet than kind of doing things that you think women will like in order to get their attention. Because just in my personal experience, most women can see you're faking it from a mile away. So if you really don't have the talent, for example, being funny, most women will immediately know you're trying to be funny, but you're really not, and that's a big turnoff. And same with intelligence, same with just trying really hard to kind of show your qualities. But I'm saying like don't do that. And I would be saying the same thing to women too. Work on feeling good about yourself. Don't work on so much. Don't pay so much attention to how other people will see you. And this is the thing that I discovered in my life, which is after a few years of me just like really not being confident about myself and really earnest, I have people coming after me and say, "Oh, now you're so confident. You know, like you must have worked on it." But really, the truth was, I stopped giving a shit. That's really what it was. Like I just stopped caring about what other people thought of me. I just kind of mentally gave the finger to everybody almost around me, just like, fuck you. I don't care about you, you know, like just go away kind of a thing. And doing that just yeah, I mean, I stopped being that really pathetic person that I used to be. So that's the advice that I would give if I was on that panel, you know. Um, so yeah, I wish Karen Strong could have given a, speech, but she was the introductor and she was really, really, really freaking funny at every single one. So that's really nice. Um, so unfortunately, Elizabeth Hobson's lecture was had some connection issues. So hopefully, I don't know, next time she could be there in person, or maybe there would be better connection issues because I could not understand a single word she was saying, unfortunately. Oh, and also the venue, the session room was just freezing, so I was just like trembling the entire time. But and Also there were other places where they show like free books. That's really nice. The dinner, the VIP dinner on the second day was really, really amazing. I really liked it. There was everything, but most of the times I couldn't eat very well because I was just like my adrenaline's going off to talk to people. So I kind of lost some weight, which is I guess is a good thing. Because I was like getting really, really fat. um, yeah. So I guess overall, I'm looking forward to the next ICMI. Hope many more people will be attending. And looking forward to what you guys come up with next. So let me know what you think, and see you guys next time.